Hi everyone, welcome back. I want to, today I think I'm going to go off a little bit because I went to court yesterday and I watched what was going on, and it reminded me of what I think is the true story here, and I want to let you know how I'm viewing this. Now last time we covered all the different ways in which I was trying to show that we are the ones in control. We are the ones at the top of the pyramid. We are the power. We're the ones that have to do it. It's us that has to do it. And what it is we have to do, we have to know the words, the process, and the rules on how we're going to proceed so that we can take control. Because what I saw yesterday is the lawyers and the judges and all the court people are really dumbed down. They don't have a clue about the law. They've been educated out of it so easy. They don't even talk the same language that they were talking when I started this back in the early 80s. So it's out of control. And so this, what that led me to understand is that everything going on there is just the show. It's all in an equitable jurisdiction, and the reason why is because they have a thing that's called an appeal. Now, if you can appeal anything that happened in the court, that lets the judge off the hook. So the judge says, well, I don't know, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but you can appeal it. So that's what they're saying, they don't know. Okay, it's frustrating to someone who goes in there, makes the proper move, makes the right motion, and then the judge says, well, I don't know, so I'm going to have to deny you, and then you'll have to bring it up somewhere else, which is part of their plan to make you come back, and you might as well just make a plea bargain instead of having to come back and come back and come back, and maybe you're going to lose anyway. Okay, so we have to understand that these courts are totally non-law courts. They're equity courts, we know this. Okay, but to say it isn't going to be enough. We have to have the full understanding behind it. We have to know they're lying and what to do about it. Okay, so when we see it happening, then we have to know that they've given us an out and it's an appeal. But the law also gives us a remedy in equity, and that's called the writ of prohibition. So I want to read what the prohibition is so we get an idea. And now why would they put in this writ of prohibition if the court and the agents and the judges are all going to follow the law? Well, because they knew they wouldn't. So now we have the prohibition, and it's a process, the writ process that came out of English common law, and its prohibition is the process by which a superior court prevents an inferior court or tribunal possessing judicial or quasi-judicial powers from exceeding its jurisdiction in matters over which it has cognizance, or usurping matters not within the jurisdiction to hear or determine. So there's courts evidently that are taking jurisdiction of causes that they don't really have authority to do. Okay, well that would probably be your court if there's no plaintiff listed and it says it's the people of that state or some fictional entity as a plaintiff. Well, then there's no cause of action. So now you're in a court that doesn't have authority, and it's proceeding as if it does and telling you whatever it wants to tell you. Because when you go read the rules and the regulations of the penal code or the civil procedures, you're going to find out they're operating totally opposite of that. And they know it. And they don't care. They're there to collect money. It's a game. That's what it's all about. Okay, so now we have to put them in a little category, and they can't be all this big. They're small because there is a superior court to them. And that's where you can take the writ of prohibition to the superior court. So we have to know that these judges and these attorneys are total bullshit. They're jiving us. They got suits on to make it look like, whoa. They have no clue. And I can see it when the way they respond. This time the judge was a second motion to dismiss for lack of speedy trial, and The DA just asked a bunch of questions of the judge, and then the judge says, I'm going to deny the motion. No grounds for the denial, and no denial with prejudice or without prejudice, just denied. I'm going to deny it. I think that the main reason why it was denied is the judge was saying that the defendant has to inform the court that they do not waive their rights. Okay, so now you have to come in and tell them you don't waive any rights when before when you came in, you had all your rights. They weren't automatically waived. Now they're automatically waived, and oh yeah, judge, I just want to remind you that I want that right. Well, you got a rights statement they give you and tells you all about your rights. So are those the rights you have? And if you don't exercise them, do you get them? See, the court is putting the defendant in the position of the sovereign. If you have rights, tell us. If you have anything, tell us. It's your duty to bring forward your rights. Even though we're officers of the court and we swore we'd uphold your rights and back you, well, we're putting that on you because we're just here to collect. Revenue, revenue, revenue. It's a revenue court, equity court, and that's why you don't want to be there. Okay, so we're learning ways to stay out, and there's a number of them. And we're working on ways in which we can get back from them. Okay, and the guy up in Canada, Robert Menard, I don't have his website yet, but I'll put it up on mine. You should go see his website and hear what he has to say, because he's got some really good ideas on billing these people and setting up a billing system already prepared, so when they come and talk to us, if it's business, we can charge them. But if it's criminal, then we don't need to talk to them. They'll just proceed. Of course, if it's criminal, we can give them our paperwork and they can pay us for a criminal act also. Because why are they there talking to us? They don't have a problem with us. They don't bring complaints. These are agents. Okay, so we have to understand this agency. Remember we talked about that, the law of agency in the beginning. So now we're in the court again when you're talking to a cop. We've got to understand that. And what's the court? This is the court of the proper jurisdiction between the two parties, because the cop isn't a party. So we're making us the plaintiff against him, the defendant. Now we got a true court, and what's his defense going to be? To violating our rights. And this will be in a court of law, not an equitable court like they bring us into. Because remember, if you're brought in by an agent, it's an equitable court. Okay? And they always bring us in as an agent. The cop never files a complaint against us. So who's the complainant? See, and these are things, the questions that are all asked and have all been taken by this court system, and they've reduced it into a form. So when you don't know who the plaintiff is or the defendant, when you get this ticket form, it doesn't say anything. It doesn't state the cause of action, it doesn't say who the plaintiff is, doesn't say who the defendant is. It just states a bunch of stuff. And if you think you know what it says, well, they think they know what it says too. And they're probably going to go with what they presume it says rather than with what you presume it says. So that's why you can ask them for a formal complaint. We'll start getting closer to this law court as opposed to the equity court. So, but either way, when we're in these courts and they're prosecuting us, we have to realize that we can get out of there. They're the ones that are playing the game, but we have an out because the writ of prohibition is our game. And that's really our only move outside of their court or inside of their court, because you can win in their courts if they let you. If they don't want you to, you won't, because you have the chance and the opportunity to file that writ of prohibition. And that'll be one of the things we're going to be studying. So I'll keep you posted on that one and talk to you later. Thanks again. Bye-bye.